Welcome to this demonstration video where we will showcase the expansion of the RedSwan CRE Marketplace. I will be demonstrating our primary issuance platform and how investors will go about making investments in commercial real estate-backed digital securities on our site. Before I dive into it, please note that this video is for investors based in the United States only. If you are a U.S. accredited investor under Regulation D, please continue watching to the end. If you are an investor based outside the U.S., please stop this recording and instead view the accompanying video we have produced for our international audience. Let's get started. For the purposes of this demo, I'm assuming you already have an account on our marketplace, and perhaps you have already browsed some of our deals and expressed interest. I will now be demonstrating how one actually goes about investing in an offering for the first time. So as you can see here on our screen, we have a fictitious investor named Dan Riley. You can see here at the top right. And we're going to assume that Dan has browsed through some of our offerings and he's interested in investing in this deal right here. He's with ticker LHOK, which refers to the Lake House Oakland property in Oakland, California. So Dan is going to go ahead and try to invest in this deal. So once he clicks through here, there's a couple of ways that Dan can enter our issuance environment. So number one, there's this exchange link up here. You can click through and then select login to exchange here, or you can just press the buy button. Either one will take him to the same place. So once he clicks buy, because this is Dan's very first deal with RedSwan, a questionnaire is going to come up where we basically gather some additional information that will help RedSwan service Dan better. So it's just a few simple questions. First one here is, are you an individual or institutional investor? In this case, Dan is just an individual investing for his own account, so we'll say individual. Are you a Regulation D or Regulation S investor? So again, this demonstration is for U.S. investors under Reg D, so we're going to select Regulation D here. This next question asks for what kind of institutional investor you are. So again, we do have institutions like family offices or real estate investment companies or hedge funds that might be investing on our platform. So if you are actually a representative of such an institution, definitely indicate what type of institution you are. But again, in our particular example here, Dan is just an individual representing himself, so we can skip this question. What property types you're most interested in? We'll assume Dan likes apartments and say retail. What property class you're interested in? We'll assume Dan's interested in class A and B. How much commercial real estate do you currently own? We'll assume he has under $1 million. And then what is Dan's investment risk tolerance level? We'll assume that Dan is a moderately aggressive investor. So just click here. If you're happy with the answers, click here to proceed. And basically that will bring you into our issuance and investment environment. Now at this point, before you can actually really do anything or transact in this environment, you need to finish your profile, as you can see from this top banner up here. So we'll go ahead and have Dan finish his profile. At this point, Dan's basically going to fill in, it's going to cycle through a bunch of forms and that he'll have to fill out. It's all very pretty easy and straightforward. One thing to note is that at some point during this this account creation process, Dan will have to upload an ID, and for the U.S. case, that's either a driver's license or a passport. So let's get started. And then this next screen asks for how you want to be certified as an accredited investor. And so generally, you are a credit investor based on your income level or perhaps joint income with the spouse and your net worth. And then we have two new accreditation criteria that just became law at the end of last year. So basically, regardless of your net worth or your level of income, you can be considered accredited if you hold certain professional certifications, which are basically at this point, U.S. securities licenses, or you're considered a knowledgeable employee. And so, for the purposes of this demonstration, we'll assume Dan is seeking to get accredited via the income criteria. And so then once we press save and continue, we just have a few more screens to go through. That's, again, very straightforward. The questions that come after here, I'll just quickly mention, differ, if depending on whether or not you're an individual investor or an institutional investor. But for the most part, the questions are very similar. Okay, so we basically just finished the whole application and submitted it. And so at this point, RedSwan would be reviewing your application and approving it so that you can transact in this environment. So once the application has been approved by us, you should receive a system-generated email saying so. And so then when Dan returns to this website and logs back in, that banner is basically gone, and he is able to now freely navigate and start to transact in our issuance and investing platform. So now let's go to that property that Dan was interested in, called Lake House, Oakland. And again, you can see the ticker up here, the name and ticker up here, LHOK. Again, that's the same ticker that we saw earlier in our main marketplace section. So we can click in here into this tombstone to begin the investment process. So now notice here, once you're within that listing, notice here there's actually nowhere to indicate your order because we need to actually now, because this is Dan's first deal, he needs to actually now prove his accreditation. So as you saw earlier during the form, while he was filling out the form to open an account in the first place, he indicated that he was accredited based on his income. And so in order to actually begin to invest in something, he now needs to upload the documents to actually prove out his income. So in this particular case, most likely it would be something like an IRS tax returns. If you selected net worth as your accreditation criteria, then most likely your proof would be in the form of bank statements or brokerage account statements. So we'll go here. Just as an FYI, because there's one little nuance here that could cause some confusion to certain people. So regarding the new accreditation criteria, where a person can be considered accredited based on their professional certifications, or they're considered a quote unquote knowledgeable person. If somebody selected one of those options, the language up here will ask for net worth. Documents prove net worth. Don't get thrown off by that. In that particular case, just upload the documents that that prove that you hold certain financial certifications, or that you are a knowledgeable professional. But anyway, returning to Dan here, he chose income, so he's just going to upload some tax returns. And then we submit that off to RedSwan. So once RedSwan has verified that Dan is indeed an accredited investor, when Dan logs back in here and then returns to that offering listing, what will now come up is before, we just had a box here asking us to upload documents, but now notice that now this has changed. Because Dan has been accredited, we now actually have this public sale box where Dan can input his order. So as you can see, for this particular deal, the minimum investment is $10,000. We'll assume that Dan wants to invest $20,000 and click invest. Dan reviews his order and everything looks good. So once Dan presses confirm order, the order gets sent back to RedSwan. And you can see down here that after that order submission, this new order status panel pops up. And you can see here, right here in the middle, that the status is currently pending. So once the order is confirmed, is submitted and confirmed by RedSwan, when Dan comes back here, you can see that the status now shows that signature is required. So that basically means that order looks good, and now Dan needs to sign the subscription agreement to agree to invest in the deal. And you can see right by the status, there's the action sign now. And then when he clicks that, it brings us to this page where we can execute the document. So let me just show that again. So again, sign now appears next to the signature required status. So he clicks that, and then we execute the document. And then the subscription agreement comes up, and we just signed this. So there you go. That looks great. Adopt and sign. And that's pretty much it. For an individual investor, all we require, of course, is the name, signature, and date. The name and the date are pre-populated. Now, just as an FYI, for those people listening to this who represent institutional investors, so if you fit that profile, then you definitely need to indicate in here your title, as well as the investing entity that you represent. But in this case, this is done, so we can click finish. So once we've signed the documents, notice how the status has changed again. So now we are awaiting payment. And At the same time, you'll also receive an email from one of our investment advisor representatives to just confirm that you will be sending payment. And the way that you send payment is by clicking this link here, payment, to see what the actual payment instructions are for this particular deal. And so basically this will pop up that actually shows all the wire instructions. Notice how right here there's actually a memo. This is a system generated alphanumeric sequence that's unique to you. To the extent that your financial institution allows you to include a memo item, definitely add that to your wire instructions, so they'll make it easier for us to track your payment. So once you've got this, you can just close out, and we'll assume that Dan makes his payment. So once we confirm that the payment and the monies have been received, again, you will receive an email from one of our investment advisor reps that confirms that. And then you log back in here. There we go. So look at the status. So now you can see that the payment is completed. Now, generally, what's going to happen? Basically, what happens right now is that for each deal, RedSwan is going to be collecting payment, of course, from multiple investors. And so once all the payments have been received and all the the digital securities have been accounted for, then RedSwan will then officially allocate all the shares, and then all the investors will then become official shareholders of the property. So once the allocation has been done, you'll get an email again from one of our reps to confirm that. And the investment, and at this point, the investment cycle is pretty much closed. So you will then go to your portfolio, and you'll see that again, in the case of Dan, he now officially owns 20,000 shares of LHOK, and you can see his holdings right over here. And that's basically it. As you can see, the process is straightforward and simple. Before we conclude, I just want to make a few points I would like to just stress and reiterate. First, when you're being onboarded into our issuance platform for the first time, make sure you monitor your email and watch for the system-generated email that alerts you that your application has been approved. Once your application is approved, then again you are able to transact and enter orders in this environment. Likewise, when you're actually going through the whole buy process for a particular deal, again, just make sure you proactively monitor your email for confirms regarding order submission and approval, so that you don't forget to sign the subscription agreement. Again, you will not get your shares if you don't sign the subscription agreement. And then later, watch for communications that come directly from our investment advisor agents confirming the payment and share allocation, so that we have your money and that you are now the proud owner of CRE Digital Securities. And then finally, as a general reminder, before you make an investment, please take advantage of our marketplace to do your due diligence, and definitely review the private placement memorandum that accompanies each deal. That concludes our video. We wish you much investing success with digital securities issued by RedSwan CRE, and we look forward to serving you as our client. Thank you very much.